to our Direct View LED training webinar. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Mark Arajanian with 21st Century Distributing. Today we have Kevin McDonald and Dwight Jenkins of PeerlessAV to give us a complete rundown on how to design and quote out their seamless video wall direct view LED display systems. And the great thing about all of this is that if you are new to the category, if you're new to direct view LED, you won't have to feel overwhelmed because the entire PeerlessAV DVLED solutions team is there to help you every step of the way to ensure that you and your clients receive all the product support and service you need. So as always, this recording, or this is going to be recorded. We're going to have this on our virtual conference center on our website for you to see later on, or if you want your employees to jump on and see it, we'll have this available for you to view after the fact. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat boxes. I'm going to have everybody muted during the presentation. So Kevin, thanks again, Dwight, for being here and walking us through all this.
You're welcome. So can you hear me?
Yep.
All good. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Today's agenda is sort of in this order, a little intro to us. Going to talk about our kitted universal direct view LED mounting systems, our seamless bespoke mounting systems, some information about pre-installation site surveys, the installation process, and review how we, the details that we go through as far as precise engineering and design of our bespoke systems. So there we are. There's Dwight Jenkins, our regional manager for the Southeast. He's out of the St. Petersburg, Florida area, and I'm Kevin.
Kevin, you're going to need to switch it. You're not. We don't see the slide switching, so you have to, if you can, play it from the beginning and go through it because it's just static for me right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Now what do you see?
You see your mouse moving around. You just here. There you go. Play from the beginning. Right there.
Okay. You good now?
Yeah. Can you go to the next slide?
Okay, just did.
Yeah, Dwight, are you seeing it change?
I'm not seeing it change. No, I still have the cover slide, if you will.
I wonder why it's doing that.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. No,
Got the next one.
That?
Yep.
All right, I won't do maybe it's the presentation part that's no good. Okay. So you see us? You see me and Dwight?
Yep.
Okay, so
good,
Dwight
Kevin.
is a regional manager for the Southeast, and I'm a senior business development director, and I deal with our display manufacturer partners like LG, Sharp, Epson, Barco, and many more, and also have relationships with consultants and architects. So Dwight, you've been with us how long?
It will be 12 years this July. So
12 years.
Yeah, as Kevin said, I'm based out of Tampa, St. Pete area in Florida. I cover 6 states in the Southeast, so I'm not all that far away from Atlanta. Kevin's right up there north of Atlanta. And yeah, anything you need, Kevin does a great job with this, and I'll let him get rolling here in a minute. But as he explained, I cover the Southeast, and I call on distributors, regional distributors, especially like 21st Century with their 7 locations in my territory. And I call on dealers and integrators, and on occasions I do call on end users to educate them on our product. And then they ask, where can I get this? And then that's when I refer them to our authorized distributors, such as 21st Century. So I'll let Kevin get going here. I know he's got a bit of content to cover, but you know, it's all good, and it's something that we can assist you with from the very beginning to the end. So any questions, just bring those up in chat, and we'll address them either during the call or at the end of the call for questions. Thanks, Kevin.
All right. Thanks, Dwight. So a little bit about PeerlessAV, the PeerlessAV difference. We've been around a long time, since 1941. We have multiple locations. We're a global organization. Our headquarters is in Aurora, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. And that's 320,000 plus square feet of manufacturing and offices. We have a UK office, and as you can see, some other areas there across the globe. And then where our bespoke custom product comes from is the West Coast, PeerlessAV Mahalo, which is just outside of LA. And that's where all the custom direct view LED products come from. We have our vertical markets here. So you can see we cover just about everything where they put AV. And as far as education, hospitality, so forth, you can read all that. Excuse me. And then also, for in the home. So TV mounts are used in the home, and we make them for that too. Product categories, we have our standard mounts from flats, tilts, articulating, our outdoor displays, which Dwight will have at the open house coming up. Our seamless direct view LED mounting systems, LCD video wall mounts, digital menu boards, and indoor and outdoor kiosks. I've got a lot of hidden slides here, so I got to get past them. So let's start with our seamless kitted universal direct view LED mounting systems. This is an offering that we came out with last summer, and it's already been upgraded, which you guys are going to be some of the first to see it. So here is what the current product looks like. It's open frame architecture, it's universal design. It's got all the XYZ adjustments, Z being the most important. It's the in and out, and that is especially with direct view LED, you really need a lot of Z adjustment so you can line up the cabinets and then the modules that go on those cabinets, because you don't want to have any seams. The wall template, that is going away. We've got a new way of doing it. And then we've upgraded these quick connect clamps. It's a very, very simple product to put up. I'll show you some pictures and a little bit of how long it took. Here's the 8 key improvements we made with the new version of this. We have a universal spacer that you reuse over and over. You don't use those wall templates anymore. The packaging is about 50% less, so it's a much smaller box because of the aluminum extrusions, which are the horizontal pieces on the top and the bottom. Those can be quite long, so we've came up with a new way where you could. There's a nut bar that connects them together, and then you can easily cut these in the field if you have to. A lot more adjustability in the y-axis, and then simplified installation. For you guys and Dwight and Mark, streamlined quoting, much easier to get the quote. We're also having it as a 1-to-1, so you could buy one mount for one cabinet if you need that. You could build it from there, or we have some set sizes, which I'll review. So you can see here, those templates that were between these horizontals are now gone. So there's the nut bar I was talking about that connects these together, these long extrusions. The wall plates, we have a slot in there now, so you get a little more y-axis. That's your in and out. So there's a slot right through that screw there. We have shims if you need them. If the wall's really, really off, then we have some shims that you could put behind some of this structure so you could get more adjustments. Universal hardware, so it's for latching displays. I'm not sure if you're familiar with how these cabinets work, direct view LED cabinets. Most of them latch together. There are some that don't, and that would require a different mount from us because the cabinets need a little bit more support in ways to hold them together. Again, the condensed packaging, and then our telescoping standoff. It's easier to adjust now than the previous model. That's where you're going to get your Z adjustment through these brackets right there that mount to the back of the cabinets. And there's also a little bit of Z adjustment in these brackets right here, which is this wall plate bracket. So these are the manufacturers that we've tested and it works with, plus many others if you go to our website, because it's always being updated. And so you can see all the major players in direct view LED, names that are familiar, some may not. So the advantage is it's universal. It's got a quick connect clamp, which goes on the back of those displays. It's easily kitted. It's lowered cost. It's simple to quote. For Mark, they're stockable components, shorter lead times because we're bringing these out of the Chicago facility. Definitely reduce the R&D on our side, and it's much easier for you, the installers that are out there. So this is the new spacer, and what we did a lot of research, and there's only a few different sizes of these cabinets, and so we put in, it's almost like a ruler that you can adjust these pins to the size of the cabinet, and then that's how you would space out the metal extrusions along the wall, so they're perfectly spaced for when you put the cabinets up. So no longer you have those templates that you have to snap away. This is a reusable spacer. Very easy to use, brand new. We're going to introduce it in a couple weeks, and then it'll be at InfoComm for anyone who's attending there. We also included an extension for, there's some taller displays that are out there, cabinets, but not many. But we actually included this spacer, this extension, so you could use it for those bigger. And I think that's going to be more for your larger installs anyway. But the most common is the 27-inch cabinet, which I'll go through in a minute there. So it's compatible with non-standard sizes, so you can open it up and make the adjustment to see how big the cabinet is, and then as opposed to using some of these preset notches that are in there. And what we found too is we did a little test, because as sales, we were concerned with having to cut the extrusions, and obviously it doesn't take long. 30 seconds with that saw, 25/73 with a hacksaw. So if you do have to cut one of those horizontal extrusions, it will not take very long. And that's just to get the width set for your cabinets. So here's the data that we found. So it's the 610 millimeters. So it's the equivalent of a 27-inch display. So it's just about 11 inches high and almost 2 feet wide. There's your 27-inch display cabinet. You can see the amount of displays that are out there, cabinets that are that size. 43 came out a while ago, and then they got the 54 inches, which is pretty big. And I haven't seen a lot of those being sold at this point. It's mainly the 27. But this system will work with all of those. Little bit of detail on the numbering system. The way we have it set up, as you can see, we put the 610 in there, meaning the 600 millimeter wide display, and then the configuration, a 5x5. So 5x5 of the 27-inch cabinet is about the equivalent of a 136-inch display. So that you're dealing with 25 cabinets. So here's their pre-configured models. As you can see, the various sizes on the 610, and then the 960 and the 1200. So here's an example. Now this is the older system. The only difference is you can see these spacers in between the horizontals. Those are no longer there. They're part of that reusable spacer that we came up with. And so here's an 8x8 configuration of the 27-inch size cabinets. And then they mounted all of that in one day. And then here's your finished product with all the cabinets going up. Some wonky content there. But you can see all the cabinets going up and across to create this 8x8. And then we also have a universal trim kit. This is independent of the mount. It doesn't mount to the mount. It goes directly to the wall. And we have it where it's vented on the top and the bottom. You tell us what size you need. It does adjust from 3.5 inches to 5.9. And it's got plenty of ventilation. We've reached out to the display manufacturers to make sure that we are creating enough ventilation at the top and the bottom, as you can see here in these pieces. But very easy to assemble. Again, let's say that you were working on an install and it wasn't our mount, wouldn't matter. You could still put this trim kit up. And we're seeing a lot of that when they're not recessed into the wall, cleans up the look. Here's some finished products, finished video walls. American Airlines headquarters in Fort Worth. That's pretty much looks like a 21:9 content. Here's the Atlanta Braves. They built a new press room a few years ago, and that is a 217-inch display. And then a community center in Wisconsin, and that one has the trim kit. I believe so does American Airlines Center. We didn't have to use the one at the Braves because it went right up against the wall. So now we'll go into the bespoke custom mounts that we make. As you can see, they're much bigger structures, very customized. And so, again, bespoke, one of a kind, tailor-made, made to order. So our facility in Southern California is about 22,000 square feet, and it's just set up to do these custom bespoke video walls. Okay. So over the last 10 years, we've built over 800 very complex direct view LED arrays, over 70 million in bespoke solutions. We've seen an increase of 200 times in the last 2.5 years. We've installed 400,000 square feet of bespoke solutions worldwide. So if there's ever been a complicated solution needed in the past 10 years, we're the only company that's been qualified to design and install them globally. So this is some pictures of the facility out in Southern California. As you can see, it's set up to do small runs, highly bespoke custom small runs. We got the CNC machines, the laser cutting. A lot of employees been there many years, and they're cross-trained on the various production and design. And then this is where the magic happens here. The precision equipment, it's just granite surface plates that we are testing. So what this gentleman's doing right there is he's got 2 cabinets up. When you put white on them, that's going to show the seams. And so he's got a camera there, and he's looking for the seam between those 2 cabinets. So why do some projects require this? I'll show you some pictures. But as far as if you get into a custom project, then it's early engagement. It's critical for us to get in there early and start talking with all the companies that are involved. We need an in-depth understanding of that physical space. So, for example, this is a auto museum up in Cartersville, Georgia. We needed to see some drawings of what is this soffit made of, and will it be able to hold the load of all this up here on top? And so, timely and upfront communications. We get in a lot of calls with construction people. You can see here the manufacturer of the displays, the end user, architect, the design firm, the integrator, the construction company. We even get structural engineers involved, and even manufacturers of like a joist. We had to do it at a college because we were hanging from the ceiling and we wanted to know what weight it could hold, what's the deflection, and things like that. Getting access to CAD files, the cabinets itself, we like to get a few in-house so we can test them, and all kinds of drawings. So we never want to find ourselves on a project we can't offer the best solution because we were too late to the party. So here's some of the information that during the discovery and quotation, that when you start, even on the previous, the universal model, we're still going to ask very similar questions. So we're definitely leading you down the right path of what product you would need. So the who's the customer, the route to market, obviously going through Mark's company, the LED make and model and the pixel pitch, the configuration, what kind of install is it, the mounting surface. If it's going up on plywood over metal studs, then we require that you put some plywood up there first and then paint it black, makes it look better. It's all hidden behind there. Is there any major obstructions, deadlines as far as and lead times and special finishes? major obstructions, an example is we did a locker room at a university where they did direct view LED from the ceiling facing down in the locker room. And it was new construction, and we were looking at the drawings, and we realized if they were to put up some of the walls, there's no way we're going to get our structure in there. So we talked to the GC, and he put a stop on building the one wall, just putting up the metal studs. And then that allowed us clean access into that locker room with all these crates. And I'll show you a picture of even for the direct view LED, all the crates they come in. So, the bigger the display, the more space you're going to need. So things that you just, early on stages when you're doing this, you may not think about all these things. Is it up on the second floor? Do I need a lift? Things like that. Scope of works, the lead times, terms and conditions, things like that, as far as discovery and quotation. Another thing to consider, this is a curved wall coming forward, is just, over time, there's, distortion and flex, thermal expansion, tolerance buildup, the building settling, if there's any seismic activity. Those are all the kind of things that we take into account when we're building a structure to hold up these custom bespoke video walls. So here's a good look at that one I had showed earlier in the Auto Museum. That's the structure before the displays went up. So you have the weight of that, then the displays and so forth. So, what kind of project would need a mounting structure? Well, in this one here, because it was convex tilted forward, there was no way to mount this thing to any kind of a wall. It had to go to the floor. Typically, when you're getting real large video walls like this, we're going to want to go to the floor and then bring it up, and then you tie it back to the wall with some other metal structures. Nothing that's all that complicated. I don't know if I have a picture of that. Well, what they did for this one was the GC took some of the metal studs and he tied it back to this red wall using those metal studs. So again, and I'll show you some more pictures of why you would need that. But, there's a lot of movement in buildings that are, kind of small. They're not noticeable. But again, they're touching on the thermal expansion, the vibration, things like that. We take that into account. So if you can get it onto the floor and tie it back to the wall, you're definitely going to eliminate that. You're going to have some movement, but it's built into our structures. So this is at Caesars Forum in Vegas, and you can see we had to go over a doorway. They originally somebody had designed it to go right to the wall, and we're like, no way. I think this was 30-some thousand pounds. And so we talked to them, said, look, we're going to build a structure that goes to the floor and then come up and then tie it back to the wall. And you can see we're going around a corner. So it definitely needs this structural framework that attaches to the building surfaces. So here's the finished product before the displays went up. So it's floor mounted, tied back. You can see there's various areas where we tied it back. And then the corner here is the real precise part. That's why we do all this testing, because you do not want to see a seam when you're making a corner or curves, whether it's concave or convex. So there's a precise measurement that we use. And you can see here this structure, the finished product is it's seamless. So here's another view with some of the cabinets going up. And typically what they do is we start in the middle and go up a couple rows and then go out and then keep working our way up. And our brackets have all kinds of adjustment to line up those pixels, not pickles. The independent frame helps to prevent building movement, causing no seam disruption.
Kevin.
Yes.
So this is a pretty intense installation. And I know that, one of the things that you guys offer is, the support throughout the process. I mean, would somebody from Peerless be on site, or, I mean, how much does the integrator have involvement with the actual installation of this? Because again, this seems like this kind of project seems like it is super advanced. Again, not to say, especially for like the first time they do it. How much support are they going to have? Are you going to have to like bring people in from Peerless to help install it, or how does that work?
Well, and I'm going to go through that, but since we brought it up, we'll touch on it now. So our bespoke mounting systems somebody comes with, and it's like a human set of instructions. So when you get a bespoke mount, built into the price is on-site consultation. So one of our guys is there to lead you through the whole thing. We also offer full installation services where we do it all. Put the cabinets on, put the modules on. Most of the display manufacturers send somebody out to do the final commissioning and calibrations and so forth, along with our full installation team. So yes, it is. Someone will be there when you're talking about a bespoke system. We offer it as an option on the standard kitted, the universal mount that we do. We offer the same thing as an option. And I always advise someone, if they've never done it before, even if it's just they may view it as a simple 5x5, it's well worth the money to get one of our guys there to lead you through it, at least that first time. And usually after that, they've learned, they know what to do, what to look for, how to make the adjustments, and then they just take it from there. So again, it comes with it, and the other one is an option. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Here's the finished product. So one of the concerns they had, and why they wanted to just do a wall mount, which would have been not the right way to go, was see all this architectural stuff they did below with the plants and everything. We saw those pictures and said, no, it's okay. The way our structure goes, we'll work around that. Excuse me. And so that's why we went to the floor, just in on the corners around the doors, so then they could still do all their architectural things here. And this has been up for a few years and no seams. Excuse me. So this is where we do our precision engineering, testing, design, and so forth. So here's the point: is if the pixel pitch is 1.5 millimeters, between the pixels on a single cabinet, you're going to see a seam if there's an 8% gap. So it's about the width of the thickness of a piece of paper. If it's more than that, you're going to see a gap, and that's where the two cabinets come together. And you've got to line that seam up, especially when you're hitting corners and curves, and even some of just these big, massive walls that are flat. And that's what these pictures are showing. You can see here it's in black, and then he fires it up in white, and he'll do a close-up. He's got the camera right there, and it's measuring this to make sure we don't see a gap. So it's pretty precise when you're building these custom walls. So here's a better view of that. So I think if you can see my cursor, so from here to the left, that's modules on one cabinet. And then this is the modules on the cabinet to the right. And this gap is more than 8% of the 1.5 millimeters. As you can see how close together they're here. So you can see there's the seam. And so we take that into account with our mount and go out to the pixels and work our way back with the mounting structure so we can eliminate that gap. And there's we do leave some space in there. You can see where you can get some damaged pixels. So we do leave some gap in there just for any kind of movement or thermal expansion, so forth, because these things are delicate. You don't want them rubbing on each other from one cabinet to the next. So that's where we get that precise measurement and then get underneath that 8% gap. And so we don't see the seam, but then you're also not going to have any damage to the pixels. And the issue that we've seen over the years is the cabinets were made out of aluminum, and now they're moving to plastic. And that's where you're going to get more of that thermal expansion and so forth. So here he is again testing on that granite table. So what's included in the designs is precision engineering services. We do the in-house micro precision testing on the panels. We measure all aspects of the device on this granite surface. And then we include the pixel pitch variances, the virtual vertex. That is where the two cabinets come together, let's say in a corner. We find that virtual vertex and work our way back. And then there's also variances within the OEM's display manufacturers' cabinets. So again, that's why it's so important for us to bring these in-house and kick the tires in a sense. Mark, here you go. Here's your on-site consultation.
Nice.
So with Bespoke, this is what you get. And believe me, these guys can't help themselves. They're going to grab a tool. I've been at a few installs, and I was even helping line stuff up as far as getting all the stuff out of the boxes and moving the thing along. I mean, you can't help yourself. It's kind of fun to watch. So you've got a project manager, a single point of contact. So that's another thing that we do. So when you're doing these projects, for example, Dwight is going to get a hold of one of our project managers in the direct view LED department and verify that he's quoting out the right product for whatever configuration of cabinets you're using. And then he becomes the single point of contact inside for Dwight. And then Dwight's working with Mark and you or whoever you need be. And then if you want to have again, for Bespoke, somebody shows up. If you want to do it on one of our universal mounts, there's a charge for that. We put it in the quote. Always good to do it on your first go around. Site readiness survey. What we do is we want to go out there and look at the structure itself. And if we're going to the floor, we want to get some information about that floor. We're also looking for getting in and out of the building. Do we have to go, get on an elevator, go up to the second or third floor or whatever it may be, looking at doorways, all kinds of things to make sure that we're ready. And then there's another component of this where it's a checklist that goes to you, the integrator, that you work with whoever's ever on site to say, okay, these were the requirements from the manufacturer of the display for power, data, things like that. Is that all in place before this team shows up? That goes along with the site readiness survey to make sure that they show up and everything's there. Do we need lifts and so forth? And I'm telling you, if you get a good GC that you're working with on one of these newer projects, that's so helpful. They can do so much for you. So the full installation services, besides all the product testing that we do while we're building this product, but if we're doing the installation services, which there's a charge for that, then we're going to be there for delivery coordination. Do we have to set up kind of temporary storage so the product's out of the way? We're checking in the products, and then you've got your assembly of the structure and putting on the cabinets. But then what people don't think about is cleanup. I got to get rid of all these boxes and crates and so forth. And so if we do the installation, then we handle all that. This is just an example of some drawings. And as one of our guys says, the math matters. So again, getting CAD drawings, doing that site survey to get a good look at it. Like when we did the Savoy Auto Museum, we had some good measurements from their drawings, but it was still, the radius was still slightly off, which didn't matter to us because our product took that into account. So all those kind of things from our years of experience that we know what to look for. So for production, again, we're using some high-grade steel. and then the newer lasers and CNC machines and so forth, because it's got to be very, very precise when you're doing, again, the bespoke structures. Get a little more leeway when you're doing the universal. This is where so on the other direct view LED, we had those little brackets that go on the back of the cabinets. They mount to the cabinet. They had their Z adjustment and so forth, X, Y, Z, and they're all lined up. Where this is where we are able to make curves, whether it's convex, concave. This is how we line up the cabinets in the corners. So this one bracket up here, it's actually grabbing the corners of 4 cabinets when they all come together. Your Z adjustment is right here through this threaded rod and these nuts. And then you can see the holes here. That is where we're giving you some X and Y to move around when you're mounting it to the structure up here. And so if this was going to be on a concave installation, you would see a little curve in this bracket going this way. If it was convex, it would go the other way. So that's how we do it. And you can see it's pretty heavy duty stuff we're building here. And then what we do is the field testing, or the fit testing, factory certified testing. So this is in the facility, and we're actually building part of the structure before we ship it out. And you can see when we're going to the floor and then going up, this is all part of it. These are templates. So these pieces of metal aren't that big. This is it would go about this far, and then this template puts those two together. These are templates for measuring when you're putting up the structure going down the corner, and there's various holes in these. These are templates for your laser that you're shooting up and down to make sure all these are lined up perfectly like they were inside the factory. So we're doing all this before we even ship it out. And that's where the cabinets are important, that we could do the full test. So we wouldn't build a complete wall, but definitely the most important part, and for this one, is the corner. So we built that corner and then ship it on out. And then the other thing that we offer, we can get it done, or the construction company or the building owner will get it done. It's PE calculations, and it's for various things as far as seismic and stretch calculations. And what we do is we send out the drawings with information on the structure that we're mounting to, and then they do all kinds of testing on a computer and let us know, okay, the hardware that you're using, based on all this, we approve it. It's going to do what you say it's going to do. So that's a service that we offer. We send it out to an outside company that we work with. And then just most of the time, this is, you have to have this done on commercial construction, get these calculations done. So another thing that we offer that takes it off your plate. So now that we've saw how we do it, this is in Oklahoma. So you'll get drawings that, like simulate, look like this, but then we also send drawings of, your typical CAD drawings and so forth of the design of the mount. So this is a curved structure on a curved wall. I'll show you pictures here. And there it is going up. And it had that unique shape and some gaps between the cabinets. And you can see right here next to this gentleman, there's the spacer that he's just going to go down the line to make sure everything's spaced out properly. And then here's your finished product. Pretty unique. So a curved structure with some gaps in there and some unique content. We have case studies on most of these on our website if you want to get a good look at them. This one here is in Cartersville, Georgia, this Savoy Auto Museum. And I was there a lot during construction. So here's the theater, which is concave. It's 16 by 16 cabinets. So it's, I think it's 32 feet by 16 high. And here's a good example of, this is unique because, it's during construction, we had all this space, but look at how much space they needed. Those are just the cabinets and the modules in this circle. So you had to think about before those went in, these tall columns were laying on the floor. They had them all laid out before they put them up. And you can see they had lifts there for us and everything. And so this gentleman here that you can see, he's the Peerless guy, and then he's helping and guiding the installers through the whole process. And again, you see what we do here? We did a couple rows, then we went up the middle, and we were making sure that everything was aligned, no seams. And then here's the one that's up on that soffit, and that is 16 by 9 as far as cabinets go, 9 high, 16 wide, and it's convex tilted forward, very unique. And again, you can see all the space that's needed for the cabinets and inside. I think most companies are sending them a little, sometimes they're on those flight cases, sometimes they're in just wooden crates like that. And then there's the finished convex one. Hidden behind this red wall here is where they tied it back with those aluminum studs. And then these are speaker grills. The integrator put speakers in there and then made his own grills. If you ever get out that way, it's a great museum and beautiful install. And then this is the theater. That's the finished product of the theater. And that one's concave. They're using the same cabinets for both of those LG cabinets. This one, they had a miter the right side of each cabinet until they got to the last row. They had to miter them to make that convex. When you're doing concave, they don't have to do anything to the cabinet. They don't need to have them mitered. This is a university in Morocco. There's it's like an auditorium classroom. So there it is during construction. And then what we did is put a ring around the whole inside of this thing. And you can see very similar, again, it's bespoke mount. So there's those, the machine mounting surface plates that are here. You can see it's very similar to what we do on all of our bespoke mounts. Since we couldn't go to the floor, then we build what we call as a ledge that the bottom row can rest on, and then it's tied back to the wall. And there's your finished product. Again, this is on our website, all of this. Pretty impressive. I forget how many cabinets. It's a crazy amount of cabinets. This is at a casino, and it's a FanDuel Sportsbook. So it's got curved, and then it comes to some corners. So it's pretty unique to what they did, and you can see it's pretty impressive. Takes up that whole wall, the whole back wall. Everyone's got a view, sides, front, so forth. And that again is another seamless bespoke. And then this one here actually was, well, it looks like it's curved, but it's flat. So this is where you would think, well, why don't you just use your universal direct view LED? Once you go beyond 8 cabinets high and then get really long like this, we want to do it as a bespoke mount because you're asking for trouble. You need that more precision when you're getting this big of a display. And because of the construction of that wall, and we didn't go very high with this, we were able to just go right to the wall. There's all plywood behind there and so forth. So you can see it's a massive amount of cabinets. And that is it. Questions? I guess I could turn this off.
Yeah. Hey, thanks a lot, Kevin. Yeah, we have a few questions here. Wanted to ask. Let me turn this on. I guess the first one's like real basic. What is the type of, I guess, application or trigger that an integrator who hasn't done this before, who's maybe just dabbled in some video wall opportunities, to kind of look for when pitching? I mean, is it large, big spaces? I mean, that's the first part. And then I guess the second one is, once they feel like this could be an option, kind of walk us through the process of when we get involved as a distributor to when you get involved. Obviously, I don't know if there's going to be like pre-site visits, depending on the certain size, or when blueprints work when going through the design process. So I guess the first question is like, what's the type of application you think would best suit this direct view LED, and then the process of getting from beginning to end.
Well, you're seeing more and more corporate boardrooms are going from your LCD video walls to direct view LED. I mean, we're seeing people, I heard a story of someone put up a 325-inch wall in their house for their home theater. I mean, that's massive. I mean, that's crazy money there. So we can, I think it's just a matter of there's a lot of awareness out there now for this product. People see it and there's no seams. They like that idea. And so I would think, and I don't know what the audience, are they strictly home theater, or are they getting into more commercial?
Getting into more commercial. I mean, as 20-person, we're primarily still residential, but that's that's changing. So most of our integrators have done. I mean, this type of, I feel like this type of installation might be new to them. Like I said, they've done video walls before, but nothing really like this. That's why I feel like the support is key, especially for the first few projects.
I think what they would do is they would most likely come to you and say, hey, I've got somebody interested in a direct view LED wall that's going to be a 8x8, and then you could just find out, okay, what's the manufacturer? You give me the make and model of that cabinet that you're doing, and then you just get a hold of Dwight, and what he would do is build out the quote, and it's going to show the mount. We always put as an option in-wall boxes, so you can hide everything recessed back in there. And then it's going to show the trim kit as an option, and then it's going to show the on-site consultation. We determine how many days are needed based on the configuration.
Right.
And then the best thing to do is, well, we have the scope of work. It's multiple page quote. And the best thing to do would be you get the quote to, whoever is going to, be the installer, the system integrator, that's quoting it out to the customer, and get them on the phone with Dwight, or I'll get on the phone, with everyone to go through the scope of work, and then just ask some questions about, the wall. What, where's it going? Is it commercial? Is it residential? What's the wall made out of? Things like that. We will guide them right through the whole thing.
Yeah, and if there's any, anything could happen. If there's any change orders, what have you, that could all be done. We could adjust that. Obviously, we would want, probably want a signed signature of this is the proposal. This is agreed upon. Then we go through the next step, which is ordering it and setting up the date to come out and have the installation. What is the normal time frame from the quoting and design process to the final installation, actually collecting the check for? I know every application is different. Now you showed some from casinos and the one with the curved wall, but like just average, what is it normally from beginning to end?
So the universal, the flat kitted ones, which I probably see this group doing more of those, maybe, at least at the beginning, but, Dwight can get that quote to you within, if he's in his office, or can get someone to do it for him that day, you're going to have the quote, because it's just that configuration. And then lead time for production is probably, it could be anywhere, just depends on our workflow, 5 to to 10 business days, maybe 15 if it's crazy. And then, once they, sign off on it. So it's probably just as long as everybody can get on a phone call and do some reviews, it goes quick.
But then it's going to be the scheduling of, getting your people down to job site, and are these, other than our integrators who are going to be there obviously the whole time, it's their customer. Are these Peerless, Seamless, Direct LED employees that are going to be there to assist them throughout the install?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So if our schedule is like full installation, we do sub out. We have a couple companies we work with that are certified by us, certified by LG, for example, that we've used in the past. But typically the on-site consultation where someone shows up and leads them through it, so we've got enough people. There's always a Peerless person doing that. And they show them all the tips and tricks and so forth. So again, for the standard, that moves pretty quick. It's the bespoke stuff that takes a little bit longer, only because of the drawings you got to get. People got to sign off on stuff, all kinds of things that have to happen. And that could be, 30, 45 days or more.
Right.
And the other thing is getting the cabinets.
Right.
So, if you're going to be stocking cabinets, then that works out great. The thing with these cabinets is they have to come from the same manufacturing run, so the colors match.
Okay.
You can't go, well, I got these came in May and these other ones came in June. They're a different manufacturer and they probably won't, that won't work. It won't look good. And so I've heard as much as 16 weeks to get cabinets, and usually that's more of like we're working on one where it's a curved and then it goes straight, and then there's special curved cabinets that LG wanted to use. So we're just waiting on those, so again, the standard stuff goes really quick.
Yeah. The more custom it is, the more bespoke, jobs, and the more time will take. But if it's a large flat wall, then it should be, like you said, it should take 5-10 days. Get the quote back in a day, 5-10 days to acquire the panels, and then we set up a schedule. We set up the time frame for something from Peerless to come down and meet with the integrator, go to the job site, and then the installation time, I guess, depending upon it, that usually take a day or two to install it. Not the bespoke.
So that one example I put up, I think that, what was that, Dwight? Was it 8x8? The sample I put up, that was a day. That's all it took them.
A day.
Okay. It doesn't. Yeah, I mean, it's the part that gets. Well, the beginning stages is where you got to be real precise with your measuring and make sure you got a flat plane all the way across and doing all that. And then when you start to build, you're constantly testing, how flat is it? Am I still staying flat and so forth? Because we've had, because walls aren't perfect, and you don't want to have these seams. So we've had, a newer installer say, I've got this. I don't want to pay your fee to come on out. And we got the phone call. You got to come out and redo it, and so then he had to pay more,
Right.
So, but yeah, once they get a couple under their belt, they don't really take all that long. You don't want to rush it, but you get into a pattern. You know what you're doing.
Well, that's another thing. The other questions. Once they've done a couple, 2, 3 of them, they kind of know the process, what they're doing. Is that what you put in the quote as far as that consultation fee? Is that still required?
No, it's always optional.
Okay.
Yes. The universal mount, the kitted universal, it's always an option for consultation or full service,
Okay.
full installation service is always an option. But if they're new, we really try to, drive home the point. If this is new to you, I mean, you're just going to pass it on to the customer anyway, and they're going to be happy that it's done right. And then you're learning, and you pretty much, you'll have it down pat.
Yeah.
We strongly
I
encourage that, right,
Yeah.
Kevin? We strongly encourage that, especially the first time or two.
Yeah.
And then, once they have it, and the whole thing behind us calling it seamless is that we can come in at any time and provide you with whatever extent it is that you want us to take it through, and that may include installation on that.
Right.
Especially maybe on the first one, depending on how elaborate it is. And just to follow up on what Kevin said there, I was involved with a 7x7. It was a Sony install using our new universal here just within the last 3 weeks. And it was just a little over a day, but we had some things that we had to take care of as far as what the contractor had done on the wall there. So It would have taken us less time had it been
We just
perfect for us to go ahead then.
Yeah.
But it went together beautifully. And there were a couple of Sony people there on the install, and they commented on how easy it went together too, because it was their first opportunity to work with our new universal that we just came out with. So great job, Kevin. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's really it's great. I mean, I think it's especially for a lot of our guys, it can be a new revenue opportunity, something that's out there that, like as a, being integrated, I may be it may be daunting to take on this type of project, but you have the support of 21st, and then of course Peerless there every step of the way, especially to get you through the first couple projects. So
that's the biggest thing I wanted to stress, Mark. Yep, that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing I wanted to stress.
Yeah.
Just reach out to us. We're asking that you look for opportunities.
Yeah.
And just make us aware of them, and let's work on it.
And then we'll help guide them through the entire process from beginning to end. Mm-hmm. So I think that was the big thing I wanted to get. That's why I asked you, Kevin, last week was, what's the technology? Great. We know exactly, what it is, what we're trying to accomplish here. But what kind of support and service can you guys provide? Because I think that will go a long way. So, we're right at an hour, guys. I really appreciate it, Kevin. Dwight, thank you so much for your time. We'll get this up on our virtual conference center so you can review it. And like we said, any projects you guys have, just go in with open eyes, and maybe this you can nail a few of these big walls, because I think, like I said, it's a big money here for you guys. If we could, get a couple of these a year, that would be nice. So
Feel if they call you, Mark, and you're like, I'm not so sure I can answer that question, just reach out to.
I know I'm going to say that. I know I'm going to say that.
What I mean? Yeah. I mean, we're here to help you out.
Well, thank you so much, guys. Thank you for your support. Thanks for this presentation, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you, everybody, for viewing our Peerless Direct View LED webinar.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Take care.